So one more segment here with gentlemen from 1980 and 81. You guys were able to be teammates with Tom Burnett Jr., one of the heroes of the 9/11 situation. He was obviously on Flight 93 and was part of a group of people that obviously took over the cockpit and saved a lot of lives by kind of derailing the plans at that moment. So over at the Bloomington Civic Plaza, there's artifacts and there's an exhibit for Tom and things like that. I know he was a recipient of several awards and phone calls from the president to his family, things like that. The Arthur Ashe Award at the ESPY Awards. So as you guys think about your time with Tom, both maybe on and off the field, what comes to mind and some memories that you have on Tom Burnett?
I actually think of senior year spring trip. We rented one of those big vehicles, and we had 6 guys that could.
It's a motorhome?
The motorhome, and we went to the Burnett's house, and Mr. and Mrs. Burnett were there. My parents were there. All the adults were there to make sure it was going to be safe for these seniors to drive down to Florida for spring break. That we were
It sounds like a good idea, doesn't it?
And we sold them, and they allowed us to go, and it was 5, 6, 18-year-old boys really having the trust of their parents, and I think we earned it too, because we were all good kids going through high school, and we didn't do anything. Well, we just didn't get caught, I guess. We're good kids, and they allowed us to go, and it was probably the trip of a lifetime. But I remember it was in Tom's front yard, and I remember Tom's parents were pretty strict, and we were going over everything, and they allowed us to go, and that was one thing that stands out to me.
I'd say I didn't really know Tom very well until that senior year, and we competed for the quarterback position. Tom ended up, winning the position, and I became really good friends with him afterwards. He was a good guy and looked out for his team. And like Ross said, we hung out. There's kind of a group of 4 or 5 of us that hung out, and we were part of the bigger group together. But when we were gathering to go out, it was Ross, Tom, a couple other guys, myself, go meet up with the rest of the guys. But just an overall good guy.
Very smart. Honor Society. A couple of years, he was accepted to the Air Force Academy. Finished out, I think he went to St. John's and the U of M, and then immediately afterwards, his professional career, he was moving up the ladder very quickly. I think as vice president of finance or something with his company. So I mean, he had a lot of goals. He was really an achiever to the point where he had plans to run for Congress in California, probably in early 90s, later 90s. So he's starting to get those things in motion for himself. So smart guy, good athlete. I mean, a rocket arm, too much of an arm sometimes. You come out with bruises in your palms, point that to them. But I mean, he put everything he could into the position. So yeah.
Good. One last note. So as it relates to Tom's legacy, and after 9/11, Coach Leverage was the head coach at the time, but I believe a few of you guys within his class came together around a monument, a rock that is out at the practice field right now, and a bench in Tom's honor and his family's honor. And so, any thoughts about how that came together? How
it was Bernie, I think, right?
Well,
Yeah.
Bernie Kaiser came up with the idea. It was a great idea, and there was probably about 10 of us that got involved in getting the rock and getting a crane, and many hours went into putting into it, but we took such great pride in doing it that I can't believe it's this many years later, and those 3-foot high trees are now 30 plus feet high, and it's incredible. And now that Lincoln's going to be closing, and where the monument is, we're really curious on how Jefferson's going to place it next. And I'm sure they're going to honor it in some way, because there's only one Tom Burnett that went to high school here in Minnesota, and it happens to be Jefferson. And I think what we put in there for Tom represents, the whole school and all of us for sure. And
Yeah, Bernie did a nice job of bringing people together. He
Yes,
got,
he did.
I think Todd Marney brought a Bobcat and dug into the hill, and so there's a lot of people that weren't necessarily athletes. It was just a kind of a cross section of people that he'd known or kind of touched at some point in time. So it was nice from that standpoint. It wasn't just his homies from 12th grade kind of deal. So.
Speaks a lot of the Bloomington community and Jefferson community, so we definitely appreciate Jefferson football and the overall Jefferson community getting that monument up, and like you said, making the transition to the new stadium that'll be on campus hopefully very soon. We'll look forward to keeping that tradition alive and the monument in a safe place. So,
That's nice.
it's great.
Yeah.